welcome back to Real Talk All Sport, part 2. Interesting chat there about Welsh football and the managers, but like you said, let's get into the Euros now, Dav.
Yeah, we're really in the middle of the group stages at the moment. The best way to place where we are is yesterday we had Romania against Belgium, where Belgium won in that game. Although Romania looked I really enjoyed the type of football Romania are playing.
Yeah.
But I've got some things to mention about the Euros.
I love Romania because of Hadji. See his son playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hadji was like, in my day, he was like, ridiculous.
Nice. So when we look at we're going to go for the overview and highlights. What have been your standout moments so far? And how have you found the Euros? Because
I think it's been a fantastic tournament because we ain't there. No, it has been a wonderful tournament. And you know, when you're sat at home, knowing that you probably would have been there commentating and what have you. It is. It's moody, man. It puts you into a bit of a solemn sort of state of mind.
Annoyingly, this has been a good Euros, I think.
It's been a great Euros. You know, goals galore.
Yeah.
You know, attacking football. Some of the games has been like, I haven't got a standout highlight. Maybe the lad who scuffed one in against us, the Turkish lads on the wing, the young 18-year-old.
Yeah, that where he killed it in from.
Yeah,
he's proper Iron Robin'd it.
Yeah. I mean, that was superb. But
yeah.
We've seen a collective of great goals.
Yeah.
I think as a celebration of football, it's, I don't know if it's because I'm not there, but it looks unbelievably fantastic. It looks brilliant, to be fair. And the fans, win, lose or draw. I mean, we've seen a little stuff with Serbia and Croatia, which I think, you know, it's a bit of an irony, really, when you like what was said and the chants that were going on. Serbian sort of association got upset by it and saying we're going to pull out. I would say, well, it's not nice to lay that on people, is it? So whatever your race, religion or whatever, it's not nice being attacked. So, you know, let's be fair, Serbian fans ain't known for behaving themselves.
There's a recent history.
There's a recent history there. So, you know, take heed of your own words, I would say. You know, it's, you know, people are people in there.
Yeah. And with it
Get
being
a bit political there.
With it being in Germany as well, because I've realised I've really loved it. Because we had 4 years ago was Poland and Ukraine that it took place. 2 countries. Is it nice having it in one place?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm not there.
But that's what I found, because you get a real nice feeling of an atmosphere of it.
Do you know what though? I can't knock Azerbaijan, Baku, and then traveling. Like it was back end lockdown, right? But it was a fantastic experience.
Yeah.
So I've been to Azerbaijan before, playing with Wales a few times, but never spent no time outside. It was a bit third worldish, if I'm totally honest. And this time went, and obviously things have improved there in the last 20 years. Fantastic. New city, old city, people were beautiful, lovely people, culture, lovely history. I love a bit of history, and to go and stay there and eat and talk to people, Azerbaijanis and, you know, people from different cultures who are fans and what have you. Mate, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Then we travelled to Italy. We were locked in a hotel in Italy. But again, different culture, different food, different... I just like... Listen, if I could go all over the world, I would.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then we ended up in Amsterdam, obviously, in the Netherlands. But from the perspective of travelling and what have you, done the Euros 2016, a bit of the Euros in France. That was okay, but you're traveling across country to different games and what have you. That's difficult. But no, if you gave me a choice, I'd say I don't mind either. All in one place.
Yeah.
Or doing the Euros as we done them in 2020/21. I loved that. I love Baku.
Interesting, because my first time of loving football was the South Africa World Cup, where everything was so focused on the kind of the beauty of South Africa.
Like the most beautiful place in the world.
Well, the colours, the people, the sounds, and you just engulfed yourself with everything to do about South Africa, and that's when I loved football, and then complemented with that Shabalala goal, obviously, and then so for it to then be in Germany, where it's like, well, everything can be about what's beautiful about Germany at the moment, and that's why I was kind of asking, is it different because you feel part of it when you're there and engulfing yourself in such a tournament. But I think it's been really good, and I'm so I'm annoyed.
Stadiums have been wonderful.
Yeah.
But then Qatar.
Yeah.
I loved Qatar.
Really?
There was a lot being said, which I do notice. Certain things I see now surrounding this European Championships. It's the same. I'll say without being political. It's the same people who are very similar people who hosted us in Qatar, but nothing's being said about the human rights issues anymore. So you kind of look at it and think, are we a bit like, when we're only looking at it, we got a problem with it, and then we turn the other cheek. If the problem is there, it's there, right? So you can't dip in and out of the problem, which I think we have a tendency to do. But I thought Qatar, culturally, I got pictures on my phone with people from different countries, just where the mood. I wish people were in the spirit of when they go to a football tournament, without the hooligan element, obviously.
Yeah.
I wish people were in that spirit all the time.
It's the best feeling ever, isn't
because
it?
people just, they look after one another, they look out for one another, they celebrate with one another. The loser is commiserated and you celebrate and have that sort of vibe, And like I say, Qatar, culturally, I always say, you go to another man's country, another woman's country, you have to respect what their laws are. We have a tendency to think, well, we do what we want, wherever we want, and you have to fit into what we do. Right?
It's a lot more complicated.
It's got us in a lot of trouble over the past couple of 100 years. So I love Qatar. And one of the guys who was with us, I remember, I won't name him just in case his wife didn't know, but he had a few sherbets because we were allowed to drink in certain hotels. We're in Qatar now, and we had left at different times, and he walked home early hours in the morning on his own. But he said, felt completely safe, didn't feel like anyone was gonna do anything to me and everything. It's just an overwhelm. I mean, that gives you a freedom, right?
Yeah.
That improves your sort of feeling of what it's like to be free.
So it's almost like a bit of a world that the guys watching TV don't get to experience or see, because I think...
Well, they do on a downtime.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the fans?
As in the fans at home. Because with Qatar, I think loads of people who I know who went to Qatar said it was amazing. They couldn't fault it. Whereas I think as a spectacle to watch on the TV, it wasn't. And I don't know. I can't say for why. It might be because we were losing, but
I think it was the time of the year. I think that
possibly,
had a big time. So you're running up to go to Christmas.
Yeah.
And you've got to focus on the World Cup.
Yeah.
It's like, World Cups are in the summer.
You didn't get that feeling of
the history of watching World
goal.
Cups
Yeah.
and seeing Pele in yellow in the sunshine and Ronaldo's and do you know what I mean? Messi, all in like summers. Like you never see a World Cup final and it's raining. Do
I
you?
think it created that disconnect, maybe.
Yeah. But then it's down to it was down to a seasonal thing there.
Yeah.
But I'll go back to the question you asked me. I thought Christian Eriksen scoring was a great moment after what happened to him in 2020, 2021. Portugal last night. Ooh-wee. Looking good, baby.
I know.
Good, baby.
They've got it.
Ronaldo, 39, mate. And running in behind, making a run in behind the defender and then slipping your mate in. Like, absolutely brilliant.
Pepe at 41, who had an incredible game as well.
Yeah, and I noticed one of the pundits was saying about how incredible that he's doing at his age. And I think some people are built, I'm not built like that. You know what I mean? But there are others who that slim, wiry sort of ability to be able to run and go. You know, like some boxers are gone by the time they're 30, right? But some of them go into there, like Manny Pacquiao, I think, coming back again.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean?
So a lot of it is genetics.
It's genetics, yeah, absolutely. Absolute genetics. And injuries, I would say. Injuries is a big thing. You know, if you don't have a major, let's use Rambo as an example. Rambo doesn't have that severe injury he had like 8 years ago. I think he's a completely different person now. He still will carry knocks and bruises, but those severe old injuries, I still got them to this day. You know, they just never really heal.
And Pepe's been around for me, ever since I've known football.
Yeah.
So do you think as well, because he hasn't had those big severe injuries, his body's almost been conditioned so well?
Yeah, and he might have had major injuries. But again, it's down to your DNA. You might have great powers of recovery, right? Or he might have been injured in a position which allows him, it hasn't affected my pace or whatever. And not like, I played with a player, Brian Gale, at Sheffield United. How Gailey played football, I don't know. Because his knee was like, I don't know, it was like a pillow over there, right? His one knee was, and he would get it worked on, like day in, day out, and then play. You know what I mean? It was, you know, some of the injuries I've seen players play with is frightening, but Pepe to be doing what he's doing is remarkable. Yeah.
So, and I think people didn't even talk about Portugal at the start of the tournament. So it's going to be spicy. So we've got that.
Gula was the Turkish player I was looking
for. Yeah.
He scored against us a goal like that. I think the goal he scored against us was even better.
And he would have been even younger as well.
Yeah.
This is going to be...
Them pesky kids.
I know. Well, this is one of the things I was going to mention. So I've got 3 things I want to talk about. I tell you what, first thing I'm going to go for, there's been 6 own goals so far.
Yeah, crazy.
6 own goals. Why have there been so many own goals?
It's almost a credit to teams and their attacking prowess, because obviously an own goal usually comes because someone's under pressure, whether a goalkeeper's being put under pressure, the defender's under pressure, a lapse of concentration. But I would say most of them have been, like the one last night, is a bad back pass.
That was...
But it comes because he's being put under a bit of pressure.
Yeah.
Right? So that lapse in concentration.
That's horrible.
It's a credit to the attacking sort of side of the game and goals, which we all want to see, it's just been raining goals.
And is it because I feel like 4 years ago at the Euros, they didn't have that style of, when you go into that half space where it's that almost bit of space in between the goal post and the box where players seem to run in, then cut it back. And then so obviously they're cutting it back with such speed that's just smacking off everyone.
Yeah.
I feel like we haven't seen that before. So that must be...
Like the France goal.
Yeah, absolutely. So loads of wingers have learnt to do that, but the defenders haven't necessarily adapted to be able to defend that yet. And I'm still trying to figure out what the best way... Because I remember I saw Neville talk about it. He said it's then, as soon as they do that, it's about the placement of your defender to try and angle yourself.
Yeah,
but it seems so quick and so hard.
But like I say, as pundits, I said earlier, we can fix every single problem as a pundit.
Yeah.
Because you can stop and start the tape. This is what I would have done there. This is what.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Did when you were playing, were there any kind of own goals that happened like that? Because I feel like when you were out on the wing, you were so far on the wing, and you'd cut in, take a shot, or cut in and play it across. You wouldn't necessarily go into that half space.
Yeah, that's what it's developed in the game.
Yeah,
right. But
because it's so awkward.
It hasn't developed to the point that it wasn't done before. It's probably focused on more now of a pattern of play. But when I was playing on the wing, if I could lay it into a Chris Pike or a Carl Dale or a Gary Thompson and play a 1-2 and get him behind, or lay it into a Nicky Richardson and he play a little slip ball in behind the defender, it's a natural sort of progression of what you're doing. You kind of know what you're going to do. It's just whether or not you're on the same page as your fellow midfielder or striker. So he knows what you're trying to do. But 9 times out of 10, you've done it. If you've been playing the game a year or 2 or 3 or 4, you've done it 100 times. You've been doing it since you were a kid, right? Playing a little ball in there and trying to get in behind, right? Because once you know you're in behind, it's just you and the keeper. That's ultimately what you're trying to get to. So, yeah, I would say it's probably highlighted more now. But, when I was a youngster, you had a left wing and an inside left.
Of
Then
course.
he went to two centre midfielders. Now you've got to hold a midfielder at 8 and an attacking midfielder.
Yeah.
It's all the same thing. The jargon's the same. There's 11v11. There's a referee and 2 linesmen. The goalposts never move, they say. There's a 6-yard box, 8-yard box, penalty spot, a halfway line. All these things have stayed the same. It's just the patterns and how I can get my 11 men to give your 11 men a major problem.
Yeah.
Right?
But there's been loads. As you were saying to me earlier, there's been more own goals than penalties.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been more own goals and penalties. But that kind of lends itself to the point made in the first part of this, when we were talking about Rob and the Welsh FA and how football is progressing. Hence why I don't think you can fish in a small pond. Right?
Yeah.
Because you're going to get left behind.
Yeah.
Right? And if you're a smaller nation, which we are, I think we punch above our weight, or we have done for the last sort of 10 years, not qualifying for tournaments, to be top 10, 15 in the world for Wales with the amount of money we got, and we battle rugby as the number 1 sport in our country. Like, there's no question of the number 1 sport in England, is there?
No.
No question of the number 1 sport in Scotland.
No, they're getting better, but there's still
Football is bigger
football
than rugby.
is bigger.
It's only Ireland, you would say, right?
Oh yeah, 100% with Ireland.
Rugby is probably and hurling and stuff like
It's
that.
also that Ireland have for football Ireland and Northern Ireland, whereas Ireland with rugby have a
just come together as a collective.
yeah,
right?
and they are incredible.
Yeah, and they are ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
So there's different circumstances why, I would say.
Also, and then another question. This doesn't have to be too much in depth, but subs. Do you prefer it with 5 or 3?
I would go back to, I don't think you should be able to change half your team. Right? I don't think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think that gives a clear advantage to stronger teams, stronger countries. Just like in league football, I would say no manager, no team should be able to make more than 3 substitutions.
Because I'm watching it now compared to kind of the first half of my life watching football, and you never took off fullbacks when you were watching it. Like there's a beauty in seeing a winger come on against a tired fullback. And like I know this. Well, the thing is, and I'm saying this as someone who always play. Yeah. But that's what you want, don't you? You want to get to.
You want to see him roasted.
Yeah. You want to see this young, fast winger. And just want to in your head. You're seeing him come on. You're thinking, burn him.
Yeah.
Like absolutely do it.
I tell you what, does do my head in though with wingers, is the amount of times wingers come inside. I watched the France game yesterday, and I can't remember the black lad's name on the wing, but he got put through down the right-hand side. He's quicker than the fullback and the midfielder, and he actually slowed down for them to catch him up. He could have gone into the box across the two defenders because they were like a good 6-7 yards behind him. By the time they caught up, he was still 2-3 yards ahead. What he done, instead of opening his eggs and going a bit higher pace and then cutting across and being like one-on-one with the goalkeeper and having like my centre forward inside me to square the ball to, he slowed down, got into the box, and then tried to chop back onto his inside. The amount of times I see wingers chop inside, and I was always told, well, like, if you go inside, there's more bodies. I want to draw you into that deep water where it's just me and you.
Yeah.
Out here in the deep wing, you know what I mean? Where I know you feel disconnected to your centre back, you feel disconnected to your centre midfielder. The only person that can really help you is your winger, and if he's breathing out of his backside and he's 40 yards up the pitch, you're in trouble.
Well, this is what
I'm quicker than you.
Yeah, because this is what we've spoken about it before, where and with the 5 substitutions, like realistically, you're gonna have a winger's going to be coming off, a centre midfielder who's doing a lot of the box to box going to come off. That's still another 3 to choose from. So likelihood is a fullback will come off as well. But you've told me when you've come on and you eye up who you're against, and you would go in that mentality of, I'm gonna burn you now. And there's something so exciting about seeing a full of energy, like arrogant winger coming on, thinking I'm just gonna do you outside. I'm gonna do you outside for someone who's been running for 60 minutes. Yeah, I love it.
Sounds cruel.
Bring it back.
It's like having a World Cup in the middle of the summer in Qatar. It's cruel. That's why we had to switch it to the winter. Because it's cruel otherwise. But the statistic, I didn't know this side of you, but hey.
But that's what you get. I think that's something I've missed here, because you look at, even like you look at Wales and the way we've played, like 9 times out of 10 we're taking off either Nico or Connor Roberts, who are our fullbacks. I know we play more of a 5, but then that gives us more stability.
I think it was. Sorry to cut across you. I think it was Clive Tilsley who said the other day, I'm not sure it was, where he said we're in danger of creating 70-minute players. So creating the rugby union effect, which like it works for rugby. Because there's 15 and people have different roles, but it's that you smashing into each other.
And you're having replacements. And so it just keeps ticking over, and there's just not that excitement of someone's a bit tired, and then the energy of someone coming back. There's the momentum kind of stays the same. But
I'm with you. I think you could name 5 or 7 substitutions. Right? I think 7 is too many. I would say like 5, maybe 6 at the maximum you can have on the bench substitutions. But you're giving too much freedom to a manager then and a team to be able to, like, if I've totally peppered you for 60 minutes, the idea is, in my head, like, this has been months of my work, fitness, this, that, to be able to go at you again and go at you again. If your manager can then go, swap him. Swap him. And,
just as I'm on the brink of going, and your tactics about to work.
Yeah. So I've run at you, and then 70 minutes when I expect you. It's like a boxer. A boxer don't get out of the ring in the 10th round and go, we'll finish him off for the last 2 rounds. So it's not, like, it's certain things that are happening to the game, like, I don't like. I think the VAR has been brilliant in this competition. But I don't like it. I think Lukaku's goals, I think the goal that France conceded the other day against Holland, where they said, the goalkeeper couldn't dive for the ball. I think that was a total nonsense. I think if you understand what's going on there...
It was Xavi Simons' goal.
If you understand what's going on there, the goalkeeper, it's come into the box, it's gone out really quickly and it's come back past the goalkeeper really quick. He doesn't have time to set and make a save.
So he's not getting there anyway.
He doesn't have time to. It all happened too quickly, right? Because it's one of them. When you see that ball rolling out, if you see an orange shirt coming in there, you think, "Ooh, trouble," right? Like you did with Tielemans yesterday.
Yeah.
Right? You see it rolling out, Lukaku rolling. Ooh, trouble if that. Right, and he managed to get there. So the ball was past the keeper before he had a chance to set himself. But all the keeper done was then point it down. That was in the way. He's in an offside position, and I'm like, yeah, he is, but. Has he interfered and he couldn't dive? Well, he couldn't dive because the ball was already in the net. What happened was the ball was past him, and then he's like, "Oh, this man here was in my way." I think. So, I don't know. I think I'm disappointed with what I've seen disallowed then by VAR in this competition. I know we've gone off piece a bit.
No, this is not off piece. This is perfect.
Yeah.
I think talking about offsides is a good shout because obviously you said you didn't like the Lukaku one. In terms of being offside, his arm was in front.
So you can score with your arm. This is my point, right?
Yeah.
Why VAR is such a... It's just a foolish thing to do to introduce into football from the sense that what can I score with?
Yeah.
Right? My head... my chest, my torso, my thigh, my backside, my feet.
Yeah.
I can't score with this, right? I can't put it in like I can if you're Diego and put it in, right? But it doesn't count.
Yeah.
Right? So I always say, right, so the idea of football is 9 times 10 score with your feet, right? So that's what should be the measurement.
See, I've always thought this, and this is what I was going to bring to you as well, is obviously the technology and the speed is better than what we've been doing. That I've enjoyed because there hasn't been a stoppages.
Until yesterday when the British were in it.
Yeah.
3 minutes.
I know. So yeah, but other than us, it's been relatively smooth.
It's been brilliant.
But I've always wondered, why has it been an arm, a finger, something where there's so much air and space in the way? Why has it never just been like similar to goal line technology, just your feet? Because I think as well, so say if you bent your run in the terms of like you went one way to get past the line, put your foot out the other way, but your body's essentially offside to then go, that seems like a really good move to do, and you take that into account.
Harsh, right? So but you're saying it's harsh if you get caught offside for it.
I'm saying I'm saying that seems harsh when you've. But if they did it via your feet,
right?
And because also there's a more clear line to see if someone's offside.
In football, and I haven't heard this spoken about at all, but you're taught. So I was a winger and then moulded into a striker. But even as a winger, you're taught to come off your line and bend your run in behind, right?
Yeah.
Now, when you're bending your run, you won't rarely see a footballer, and if you do see it, you kind of laugh at it, run like straight back up, right?
Yeah.
As you're running, your head tilts, your body tilts.
Because you're steering yourself.
Because you're steering yourself, right? So you're taught from an early age, right, Nate, come off your line and bend your run in there. So what am I supposed to do now? Right?
Bend the other way.
Well, it's impossible, right? Bend backwards while running forwards.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
It's the most ridiculous notion. I would say your feet is the be all and end all. I don't care if my head is over in an offside position. I don't care if my chest is, my arm is, my thigh is, my knee is. Where are my feet? Because ultimately, it's my feet that have to carry me to get the goal.
Well, exactly. That's what I've always thought as well, because also it gives this with the arm, with levels and air and depth as well. It's so much more complicated than just being like similar to goal line technology.
Yeah.
Where the feet.
Yeah.
It makes so much sense. And I think if you have bent the run or you have taken a few steps onside to then go, I think that's great movement. And I think what you've done there is you've just done a defender.
You have, yeah.
And that should be applauded. And I guess that comes back to the old school way of offside, where it was, if in doubt, give the attacker
Yeah.
the benefit.
So Lukaku's goal last night for me was a prime example of your feet being onside, but I think it was like half of his arm,
Yeah.
something like that.
'Cause, yeah.
And a piece of his chest or something like that. And I'm like, well, like I heard the VAR woman saying players like Lukaku running straight lines are going to have to change the way they... I thought, are you taking... This is a guy who scored 85 goals for his country, and here you are, jumping up, telling him, a Belgium legend, oh, change the way you play football.
Change the way you run.
Because VAR is more important than you are. Fans come to watch VAR, they don't come to watch you, Robaloo. I'm like, it's ass backwards. It's one of the most ridiculous things I've seen. And I've said from day one, I'm not a VAR fan, right? I hear the match of the day boys saying VAR, VAR, VAR. And I used to think, okay, watch, right? Watch, you're meddling with the game too much now, right? It's subjective.
Yeah.
It's not an objective decision. Was the ball over the line? Yes or no? Well, yeah. Go. There was an incident. What game was it? Where the lad got done for handball. What team was it? It wasn't France. It was one of the major. It might be. Was it Switzerland or something like that? I can't remember. But he went through. And first of all, the defender bumps him, so they make heavy contact. He manages to hold off the defender. The ball hits his hand as he's running. This is all in the motion at high speed.
Yeah.
He's doing this with the defender. The defender's doing that with him. The ball clips his hand on the way up. He runs on, does the defender, crosses it, they score. Handball. And I'm like, what are you supposed to run like? You're fighting like he's not gone like this.
Yeah.
Right? He's not handled it and pushed it forward. It's just in the melee, it's clipped his arm. That's not handball. It's like you're now taking away decisions or goals. You've taken away a goal on a decision that in slow motion, when you slow it, it looked like he hit the ball like
he's smacking it on.
Right. But in full speed, you realise, first of all, I would have asked, well, is there body contact before the ball is hit his hand or he's handballed it? Right? Is there body contact? Yeah. So what are you more focused on as a footballer? Holding off that player? Right? Or handballing it again in the back? You're not thinking, you're protecting the ball, but you're not thinking, I'm going to handball. You just can't. It's just too much stress and fighting and all sorts going on just to try and get hold of the bloody thing. You know what I mean? So for me, VAR is a no-no for me. Even though it's worked at this European Championship, I still think it's probably denied a couple of goals, which I think should have been allowed. So, like, players shouldn't have to... Let me just say that. Players shouldn't be adapting to VAR.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
To the point where they're now saying, Dav, you run a certain way. You run leaning forward when you're attacking. When you're trying to get in behind the defender, now you've got to stand upright. And I just look around like, oh, was that offside?
Checking with the liner like they do in American football.
Listen to the logic of what is being said.
Yeah.
Right? You can't curve your run anymore. Good luck if you're a technical coach in the academy. I don't know what you're going to teach the kid. Honestly, when you make your run and you're bending your run, like, well, don't bend your body. You've got to be like upright. Like, we'll see.
Cool. And then, so after that and VAR, when I think of the best team I've ever seen play, it is either Barcelona or Spain, but they were basically the same
My
team.
age is probably Brazil back in the day.
With our kind of R9.
That team, R9, Romario, Rivaldo, Ronaldinho.
Yeah.
But then when I was a kid, I think it was 82 with like Zico, Eder, and Socrates, and I think Italy won the World Cup then. When I think it was Italy won the World, beat them in the final, I think. But that was probably Jairzinho. That was probably one of the greatest teams I've ever seen.
Yeah. But
And that Barcelona team,
Yeah.
Pep's Barcelona team.
and watching Spain in this series I've found has been so exciting.
Beautiful watching it.
Beautiful. I love it. Like, I've been watching it and seeing Nico Williams, not our Nico Williams, but Nico Williams
On the one side.
on that one side. Yamal, who like, I know you joke about me being young as well. He's a decade younger than me. He's a whole decade younger. It's seeing him on that side and seeing them, like, they're so super exciting to see play with Rodri, and then their midfield three have got it again. Like, they've seemed to get that right. I find that so exciting because it reminds me of that Pep Barcelona, the Spain that we saw in the World Cup. Because granted, Pep's amazing, and what he's done at Man City, I think, has been fantastic. But I can't deny, I find Man City quite boring to watch.
Do you?
I do. Yeah, I do. I know. I know.
Blasphemy.
I know. Like, they're
so
amazing.
boring that everyone's trying to do what they're doing.
Yeah, I know. But I know they're trying to do what they're doing. But there's elements of it which are just so seamless with the passing and the movement. It's just not the same as when I saw Barcelona under Pep.
Yeah.
And Spain under Pep. There was just something that they had,
Whole progression.
which was, but the excitement that I get, I feel like something within me.
I think the difference between the two is if you watch Pep's teams again for Barcelona, is once Messi moved into the striker role, he used to change the wingers every David Villa or what was his name under Arsenal.
Alexis Sanchez, and then Pedro as well.
So what they do is change the wide men.
Yeah.
What's the Brazilian? When the Paris Saint-Germain, forgetting his name.
Neymar.
Neymar.
Yeah.
Different
So he was
people.
a tiny bit
so
after
they had,
as well.
They had different. They used to rotate the kind of the wingers. What Pep, I think, has had to do since he's come to the UK is then rotate different positions, different people. Ultimately, to do the same thing, to keep the ball. So if I've got the ball, you can't score. Right? And then when I've got the ball, is how do I break you down? Right? That is the key to it. And you might think it's boring. I think it's the ultimate chess game. I think if you're talking chess, he is the man.
Yeah, and I agree with you that he is incredible. And I totally, but I don't know what it is, and I can't necessarily put my finger on it, but there's something that the excitement that
yeah, because it's not at the tempo. I don't think it's at the tempo as what Spanish football is. Right?
Okay.
But what he's done is bring a Spanish style to slow the game in the UK.
Yeah.
The Premier League, if you think of Man United at their height and Arsenal at their height, right? Pace the bird, Andy Cole, you know what I mean? You know, Yorkie, okay, Sheringham, but they had Kuchalskis and Giggs, and you know, it's always pace. And the Premier League is considered the best league because of its sort of basketball nature, right? But in Spain, the top teams will football the lower teams to death. Yeah. Right? And that's migrated into Germany and now into the UK. And I think Pep's a big reason for that. But the difference is you're not seeing the end-to-end when Man City play because we are controlling the ball. And if I've got the ball and you, like the game against Spurs when Son should have scored. Yeah. Right? Broke away, should have scored. That's the sort of, you're going to get 2 or 3 opportunities against Man City on the counter attack, but that's it.
That's it, yeah.
Right? They're about like putting you on the back foot, right in the edge of the 18-yard box, and those little balls you were talking about earlier becoming professional. Brilliant at slipping those little passes inside you. But we need to have some of the best passes in the world to do it. Rodri, De Bruyne, you know what I mean? Yeah. So you might think it's boring. I quite like it. Because I like to study the game in a different way too.
But what I'm seeing now is from this
Spanish
what is
team.
it feels like a new Spanish
Do you know what I
team.
like? Fabian Ruiz.
Yes, that's what I meant to say.
Cultured. Beautiful to watch.
The centre midfielder,
Yeah.
left-footed. Oh, yeah. I love it. Yeah. And he reminds me of him, Rodri, and Pedri.
I know what you're going to say.
It reminds me of Sergio Busquets, Xavi, and Iniesta.
Yeah.
Like,
not quite there.
No, not quite there. But and actually having Ruiz with that left foot it always gives balance. A little bit more.
Yeah.
Bit more balance, as you say.
Because Iniesta played on the left, but he was right-footed. But
yeah, and I'm watching that, and I'm like, they can do it, and they're the closest thing we've had to it, and it's beautiful. And then you get it out to the wingers, who
got these young
who can take people on.
Yeah, outside.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's what I like about them because they go outside and inside. But Williams is probably more direct on the outside than Yamal on the other side. I think Williams has been the bigger threat.
Yeah.
If I'm totally honest.
See that where he cut it inside, curled, and it hit the crossbar.
Yeah. But I tell you who else have impressed me severely last night with Portugal.
Yeah.
They look good.
They do. They have that balance because it felt like 4 years ago. Granted, they still had Bernardo Silva. They had Ronaldo. They had Fernandes. But they had all these attacking players, but the balance wasn't quite there. Whereas now, it's
they've got both defence, midfield, and attack. Yeah, so I would go out of the big teams. From what I've seen so far, the winners come from Spain or Portugal or Germany.
Yeah, they're looking like they got it getting it together as well.
Those are the three for me who look like, and there's I love something like Croatia because when you think no way, they always just find a way, right? So there's always that stubborn team who find a way, who expect to lose possession, expect to be under the cosh, but the longer the game goes and you don't score, the more it starts to mess with your head, and the more mistakes come into it, and a few chances, and momentum starts to change the other way. So. Yeah. Those three teams for me are the best I've seen at the tournament.
And
Switzerland as well. I quite like Switzerland. There's an outside gamble.
And in our notes that we have for before doing the podcast, we mentioned about individual brilliance. So you mentioned Ruiz there for Spain. Who else has been your standout?
I think Bellingham for England.
Yeah,
I know they were jumping on the team after the second game, but it's difficult to play well all the time. I think tournament football is like cup football, right? The idea is, okay, if we're not playing well, if we're winning, that's a big thumbs up, they say. That's the nature of sport, right? That's what they say. If you're not playing well and winning, that's a great sign. England not playing well and winning is a great sign for me.
Yeah.
I'm a bit worried about Gareth Southgate mentioning the word, which wasn't really picked up by the punditry, experiment with Bellingham at the tournament in midfield. It was like, ooh. But they need a big 3 or 4 nil win just to get the outside noise down.
Yeah.
Right, because I believe that outside noise is probably going to affect. But I would say Bellingham. I just love watching that kid. He's a boy. They're boys, right?
Yeah.
And they're doing man
20 years old.
things. Yeah, Champions League.
Yeah. For me as a spectator as well, what I love about football, I love watching what players are good at. Like we mentioned Ruiz there, first thing his left foot is spectacular. Yeah. You look at
Mbappe's little run when he got the own goal.
Mbappe with the way he runs, like Yamal and Williams, the way they're inverting, but they can go around the outside. With Jude Bellingham, what's frustrating is I genuinely can't say what that spark of him is because he can do it all, which is just mad. Because you see him, and lots of players you see, it's because they've got lightning pace. Some of it's because they've got a wand of a left foot. Others are because of how strong they are, and they look up and can ping a pass. He can do it all.
That's why he's just won the Champions League and the Liga, and he's an 18, 19-year-old kid.
Yeah.
You know, that's that. You know, the pressure of what the boy's done. I think, whilst it gets highlighted, I still think it's not highlighted enough. He's at the biggest club in the world, the biggest pressure cooker in the world, and then
He's won the fans over, which is a hard thing to do at Madrid.
in Spain, yeah, absolutely, and then come to the tournament and opened up with you'd say a comfortable 1-0 win. Scored a great goal, and you know, really and truly, I think it was more. I get the feeling it's because they're winning over there 5-0, like we got to win 5-0. And I'm like, well, do you really? I know it hasn't been like top notch, but I would be thinking, we know what top notch we can get to, so it's early in the tournament. Do you want to peak in the heats of the 100 final, or do you want to peak in the final of the 100 meters? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Some might say, but if you're not peaking, do you get there? Well, that's just football, right?
Yeah. And you always say, like, it is a game of chess, isn't it?
Yeah,
So
no one's going to give it to you, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, no one's going to go on, score 4, and then we'll start playing. You know, it's a game of chess. Like, I'm going to try and stop you, your attackers. So, yeah.
And I get...
who else I like? Go on, sorry.
And I guess, like, what we were saying with England is the difference between the group stages and the actual knockouts is people have got months to prepare for these games and do it and do their kind of analysis so intricately,
in depth.
and in depth.
Yeah.
You can go through every single player, everything they're going to do, all the tendencies, all the strengths, all the weaknesses. But then as soon as it goes into knockout football, it's like, okay, how can we do it in such short space of time, and what could we do?
The biggest problem for England was in the first game was the opponent decided we're going to press you. When we let you have the ball, you had your wicked way with us. As soon as we said, okay, let's change and press you, it was like you couldn't then flip to, okay, we need to play a higher tempo with 1 and 2 touch, more movement, more rotation. That's just an in-game tiredness sort of thing. I believe. I still believe we've not seen nowhere near the best of England, and we might not. That's sport, though. Yeah. Not a divine right. You know, you hope they get to. I hope they get to their best, because you want to see the best teams get into the quarters, the semis, and they've got clearly one of the best squads. All right, so you know, it's sat top of the table, 4 points. I would just say, like, take a little bit of a chill pill, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It will come. But the question was best. Who's my favorite? Musiala, Germany.
Yeah.
And Rudiger doesn't get nowhere. Plays done all he's done with again Real Madrid. Look at Chelsea since he left them. Car crash.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Car crasher with defence. Don't care what anyone says. Car crasher with defence. Right. Rudiger's gone. Won the Champions League. Won the league again. And no one says a word. Germany, solid as a rock. Animal, freaking warrior. Whatever you need him to be, he's it. You know, unsung hero for me. So I'm going to give him a big
nice.
Whoop, whoop.
I like that.
Yeah.
Because I remember watching. So seeing that defensive centre back duo. It sounds silly, but 5 years ago, when playing FIFA, I saw there was this guy from Stuttgart called Rudiger, and then there was this Jonathan Tah who was, I think he may have still been at Leverkusen, but like 20 odd years old.
Yeah.
And they grew up into such a good duo together on FIFA, because Jonathan Tah, 6'4", strong as an ox, but really composed.
FIFA on the computer.
But as in this is what the players that they turned out to be. So 6'4", strong as an ox, really composed, and then Rudiger was this guy who would just fly into everything. And they've actually grown these years down the line. They've actually grown into that, and they're a really solid duo. But then so Rudiger,
he's far more composed. He was a bit. He could be erratic when he got involved with someone at Chelsea, but he's still a great classical defender.
He knows what he's doing as well.
Exactly. And I'm like, Chelsea let him go, like, and I was like, what? You've underestimated that there. You know, if you ask me, do I keep Rudiger or do I keep the Brazilian
Thiago
captain.
Silva.
There's no comparison. Thiago's been one of the greatest defenders in the world, but he's getting on. Do you know what I mean? If we're building a team for the future, and I had the choice of those two, well, but hey, that's a different conversation altogether, right? But I just give him a big up because I think he's been brilliant. And Mbappe, of course. Let's see what else I wrote down. The Spanish has Rodri, Yamal, Williams, Ruiz, I love. Ardagula, the Turkish lad, and Kalahoglu. For me, there's been some really good... Sesko, I think, Slovenian.
Yeah. He's one of the teenagers as well.
Yeah. Another kid, but really like him. So there's been some great little players. It's
that's what the Euros is perfect for, isn't it?
Well, and it's great to see so much youth. You know, back in the day, you might have seen the odd teenager. You know,
like the James Rodriguez.
Yeah, the odd 20-year-old. But now you're seeing they probably make up half of each squad, 23 and under. You know, which is fantastic.
You mentioned Musiala. What's he? Because he is the same time as Bellingham. They played together for England. Academy. What's he good at?
I think he's better than Bellingham at dribbling and running with the ball. I think Jude is good at running with the ball. Wouldn't put him down as a great dribbler because there's a difference between the two. Running with the ball over distance and dribbling. I think Musiala can do that. But I think they play them together. Right days. I think Jude is he's a bigger, more physical presence as well. I think whereas Musiala is the joker, the trickster. You know what I mean? He's going to pull something out a bit different. Well, like you say, Jude is just a very good at everything he does. He's good at dribbling, he's good at running with the ball, he's good in the air, he's got good strength, he's got good finishing ability. Whereas Musiala, from a defensive standpoint, if you said, well, both attack and defense, I can't even break it down like that. Let's just say he's a great player. He's been great to watch, and Gundogan as well. I know there's questions about Gundogan, which I didn't really get because I thought he was freaking. His mind is just. He's like 3 steps ahead of people all the time.
And he's so complimentary to all these players, like Wirtz, like Musiala.
Yeah.
Like the fact you've got these new young guys who have got that spark.
Yeah.
When you've got Gundogan, that's such a safe pair of hands where he can do it all as well.
Yeah. So I suppose those are the stand-up players for me. I would say. It's going to be interesting, but I say the teams to watch:
Portugal,
Spain. You can't write off France.
Yeah.
I put Germany. I think.
Football seems like it's in a good place at the moment.
Football's in a great place. Just don't go too far with these new rules you're trying to bring in all the time. Because you don't change the game. You know what I mean? The little bits. Like I think one of the most stupidest things in football is a yellow calf taking your shirt off. So people will tell you, I'll tell you, if you score an important goal at a certain time, you don't know where you are. Everything changes. Sometimes it slows down. Sometimes it's just absolute riot mode. You just lose your head, right? Taking off your shirt or jumping into the crowd or whatever it is. But it's why we play the game, right? So we've had incidents where I think it happened to the Man United player, the young lad, scored a win against Liverpool.
Diallo, wasn't it? Yeah.
And then got sent off for it. And I'm thinking how can you? It's the height of what 90,000 people have paid their money for to see us score the winner late on against our biggest rival. The lad has lost his mind, what you're asking as FIFA, UEFA, Premier League, EFL, is once you've scored that goal, Dav, which is the most important goal of the season, and for all these 90,000 people in here, I want you to show complete control and do what? Yeah.
And yet it still could go to VAR and be taken away from you anyway.
Well, that's another thing. But you all want this paying public to come in for moments like that.
Yeah.
But then you're punishing the player for doing something which everybody, the organisers included, would want. Mbappe scores a last-minute winner against Germany to win the cup at 90th minute. He takes off his shirt. He's been booked earlier in the game, and then you send him off. It's not a question of, were they letting go? No. If he's already been booked and he scores the winner in the 90th minute for his country, however million of people in France going off their shit, the government, everyone, you're going to then say, FIFA, we're more important. Give him a yellow card for that because, you showed your nipples or your chest. I mean, you're ruggy for Giggsy.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's those sorts of things which I always think, why would you do that?
Yeah. I wouldn't know because I don't score any goals.
Pandemonium. Well, look, right, and I'm not saying you do take off your shirt.
Yeah.
But
did you ever get booked for it?
I don't even know if it was booking. I played so long ago. I don't think it was. I don't think you got booked. Actually, yeah, you did. You used to get booked towards probably about 2000. I think the rule came in 98, 2000. Yeah. But you think of moments like when Bale scores against the Ukraine, right? Or other moments we had with Gareth, right, to get us. And if he scores to take his team to the Euros, or scoring to take your team to the World Cup, or scoring the goal to lift the FA Cup or League Cup or win the Liga. Remember Troy Deeney when he scored that goal and lost his shit? Yeah. Sticks in my mind, right? Yeah. Love it. Get your shit. He just lost his shit. If you said to Troy, what were you actually thinking there? He'd probably say to you, I don't know. I just lost my total control.
He's probably still thinking of the corner that was going in the other side.
Yeah. Because 1 minute you were conceding, next minute you were scoring. That's one rule I would love to see removed from football. Is taking off your shirt for celebrating a goal.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get what you mean, because especially with the way that sport is going at the moment, what is selling is getting bums on seats, people streaming, people getting it, and the way to do that is via entertainment. Yeah,
it's an entertainment sport. That's what we're in it to do.
Exactly.
We're in it to entertain the 90,000 people in the stadium and the millions watching around the world.
Yeah, and as much as you are a sports person, you are default an entertainer as well.
Absolutely.
So in doing
my tap shoes. Where I used to do that. Get a pair of tap shoes on the side and do a little.
So it's cool, but then there's so many different things we could talk about change and different rules and stuff like that. But
maybe we'll do a show on that.
No, I think that'd be because I know that I'd have a notebook full of rules and you'd be like, what are you on about?
Yeah, it's probably rules I'm not aware of, but that's what we'll do next time, right? We'll have a section where you come up with your rules.
Oh, I'm going to come up with rules and you're going to, it's going to haunt you.
Yeah, like the back pass. And keep a not allowed to pick it up. I love that rule.
Yeah.
Being a striker.
Of course, yeah.
Nothing more annoying than closing people down and they roll it back to the keeper. He just pick it up. Then he roll it to you. I close you down. He roll it back to him. I'm closing the keeper down. He just pick it up. Like you're just stifling the game.
Yeah, no, that's
the bloody thing, and let's get on with entertainment.
It's not in my notebook. Don't worry. Backpack's not in my notebook.
Okay. Just to let you know, I would have chewed it up if you had it.
Mate, you're gonna chew up anything that I write here. So I don't
know half the rules. when the referees used to come in a pre-season and then give us right this year's new rules. Whatever. You realise I've been training 3 times a day for the last 4 weeks and my body is mashed. And he's coming in to tell me I can't take off my shirt. I get booked for it. Whatever. Yeah, just have a little sleep. So I suppose that brings us to the end.
I think that was fun. I really enjoyed. We got some good things there, and there's probably going to be more to talk about the Euros as well. Yeah. So that's super exciting.
Absolutely. And just to let you know, Dav is a cradle snatcher. Younger wife.
Absolutely not. Right. Yeah, a younger wife by just
Sorry,
under 2 years. Yeah.
So listen, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. We'll be back soon, hopefully with the other two, the Olympians. Should we call them?
It's good because there hasn't been any. We've had a little bit of a break from Man United chat now as well, so there'll be some stuff to talk about when they're back. I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, Bruno scored. I was going to say there's been no highlights for the Man United fan in the Euros, but there won't be.
But yeah, be sure to find us on wherever you get your podcasts as well. Give us a like and subscribe, and even a message on Instagram, because it was really nice having the messages of people asking for this to come back and when's the next one.
Yeah, so, any questions? I tell you what, we get topics from the fans.
Absolutely, because it's one of my favourite things, coming in with a question to Blakey as well. So send it to me and I'll pass it on. So be sure to find us as well on YouTube, and we've got more coming.
Enjoy the Euros.